Hello and welcome to another episode of my Working with Todoist series. My name is Pullein and this week it's all about workflows. Workflow, by that what I mean is where do you start the day when you open up Todoist and where do you end the day when you close down your computer. Now this is a crucial part if you want to build a fantastic productivity system, because you know where you're starting, so you see what you need to see, not necessarily what you want to see, and you end the day with a plan for tomorrow. And that's what I'm going to show you this week. I'm going to show you my workflow, how I use the filters for this, how I use pinned favorites in Todoist so that I have this nice easy workflow that I can work from throughout the day. Now I have covered elements of this in previous episodes, but what I wanted to do is to give you the full picture of how it works on a day-to-day basis, how I use this workflow, and more importantly I'm going to show you how I use my objectives and purpose, or purpose and objectives project folder, because I do get a lot of questions about that, and for me it's one of those crucial folders that I have in Todoist that keeps me focused on the work that I want to get done this week, this month and this quarter. So before we go any further, what I would just like to say is if you do get any value from this video, then please help me by hitting that like button below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you would like to get all the latest tips, tricks and news on using Todoist, then please subscribe to my channel. Okay, it's now time for me to take you into my Todoist and I will show you how I have my workflow set up every day. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off right here. These are all filters. These three are here, are filters: today's objectives, today's focus, and focused 10. Now what I've done for this example is I've set this up so that you would see how it looks after I have finished my daily planning. So this is how it would look first thing in the morning when I open up Todoist. Now the way I operate here is I first want to look at my today's objectives. So I tap on there and that's going to give me my today's objectives. Now these are just example tasks. They're usually more important than buying my dog's medicine. Although actually recording all these videos actually would be probably an objective. But these have come up. Now, the thing that I really wanted to point out is, for those of you following the time sector system, I should point out that recurring areas of focus can be and probably should be part of your daily focus, because these are your important tasks. The areas that I would be less concerned about is routines, but occasionally they do come up. So this is where I start in the morning. I look at my two objectives. I really want to have a very clean view of this, because this is to refocus me on the things that I have decided are going to be important today. Now once I've reviewed that, once I've checked that, I will then move into my today's focus. Now this is where I spend most of my day. So you'll see up at the top, so if I go back up there, you'll see that I got my two objectives. When I move down to my today's focus, they are still there, because this is my daily view. This is where I am spending most of my day. And as you can see, if I just get this right, you can see that all 10 tasks from my focus 10, so all my 10 tasks fit in one window, and that's really one of the reasons why I like to keep it to 10, because this is not only is it a realistic number, because let's be honest, we have difficulty in managing the inputs that we have no control over, the things that are just going to happen on a day-to-day basis. So these are the things that I'm going to do everything I possibly can to get done, particularly these two up here, because these are the objectives. Now please don't get worried about here things like checking bank accounts, washing car. I know these are not important tasks. This is just my demo account. This is not a real account. Just imagine that these are all important tasks. You know, things like recording audio, doing my invoices, because if I don't do my invoices I don't get paid, and things like this. I mean, updating my sales report, that would be a routine, but most of this is just to give you an example of what my day would look like, although this is not necessarily the tasks I would have. Now once I've got to the end of the day, they've all been done, then I would switch over to my today view. So imagine I've gone through the day. I'm going to check these off. It's a demo account. So I'm checking these off throughout the day. They're done. My orange, by the way, the way my flagging system works is red tasks are for my objectives. My orange tasks here, these are the P2 flags. These are my morning tasks. And then I have my blue flagged ones here, which are for the afternoon. It's just a rough estimate so I can balance my day. So then I'm just going bang, bang, just get these all done. And round about 4 p.m., let's say I've got all these done, great. Then I switch over to my today view. Now in here, this is where I will find most of my routine. So the rest of the day, probably from about mid to late afternoon, I have switched over to today view. But the beauty of it is, once again, I don't have an overwhelming list. It fits in one window. And that's part of the key of getting yourself motivated to get your work done. Not only are you controlling the amount of tasks, so you're prioritizing, but what's also happening is you are actually keeping the number of tasks that you see down to a more manageable level. So that's basically how my workflow works throughout the day. So I've got today's objectives where I start, today's focus where I spend most of the day, and then I switch over to today view at the end of the day. Now at this point I will move over to my focused 10. So this is the end of the day. At the end of the day, when I'm doing my planning session for tomorrow, I switch over to my focused 10. Now this is basically where I decide what I'm going to do tomorrow. So what you'll see, first of all, I've got 13. So I'm going to have to lose 3 of these tasks. I check bank accounts. Well, let's say I don't think that's important, so I just remove the flag. Now I'm down to 12. I'm going to find out, invite Miss Toro, arrange for the Bentley. The Bentley, yeah, well, okay. Update sales report. Now let's say this one, okay, confirm, let's say arrange to get the Bentley service while I'm in Jamaica. Now let's say that this is an important task, but I'm not going to see the person I need to see tomorrow. So what I would do in this situation is I would switch that to the next day or whenever it can. Now I'm down to 11, so I keep the flag. And then I'm thinking, okay, what else can we do? We'll blah, blah, blah. Update the sales report. Let's say I don't need to do, that's not really that urgent. So again, I switch the flag. Now I'm down to my 10. And then once I'm down to my 10, I start looking for my objectives. So let's say that this one here needs to be done, must be done tomorrow. So I'm going to make that one my objective. And I'm looking here and I say, oh, I need to ask for the file. So I'm going to ask Moneypenny for the file. So I'm going to do that. And that's it. My planning for tomorrow is done. I've got my focus 10, I've got my 2 objectives, and I've got my 8 other tasks here. I will normally check to see if this is in balance. It is in balance, and maybe I can change that. Let's say I've got meetings all morning, so I will probably change it to mainly blue, but that's how I'm using those flags. Now, the final part to this, and I want to show you because I get a lot of questions, is what is this up here? This is my purpose and objectives. It's my purpose on objectives are down here in my projects list. Now, this isn't part of the Time and Life Mastery system, but this is something that I use to keep me focused on my purpose and my objectives for the week and actually for the quarter. So let me take you into this. First of all, I use a statement up at the front. This is my purpose. This is my focus. So to help as many people as I can to become better organized and more productive, and to maintain outstanding levels of fitness and health. Now, I set that up in bold. It is basically a task. If I just click on that, that is just a task. Let me double tap. So essentially, I've got the asterisk, which makes it a non-completable task. I've then got the 2 asterisks here and the 2 asterisks there, which bolds the text. This is my mission statement, if you like, and that's what I have right up at the top, and it's there to remind me of my purpose, my objective and my purpose. And then I break things down. I've got my this week's focus. Now this is for the things I want to focus on. They're not tasks, they're just things I want to focus on. So I imagine in this case I want to focus on your Digital Life 3.0 development, and I really want to focus my exercise in on strength training. Now you can put in here anything you like. It can be both professional, it could be personal. I just keep it to 2 things because obviously if you have a long list of things you want to focus on, you're not going to do much focusing. So I keep it down to just 2 things. Then I go into 3. So this week, I've got 3 things for this week that I really want to do. It's like my most important task. So I want to make sure that I exercise a minimum of 6 times this week. I want to get my Your Digital Life 3.0 slide deck completed, which I actually did. And I want to prepare for next week's workshops. I've got 2 workshops next week, and I really want to focus in on getting those ready. This month, I want to complete Your Digital Life 3.0. I want to get my body fat percentage to 18%. And I was struggling with sleep in April because the weather was changing. It was getting a bit hot, and I wasn't sleeping as much as I should. So I really had to focus this month on getting it back. Good news, we're already halfway into June, and I've now got my sleep patterns back. And then I have my Q2 goals and objectives, which is to get 50,000 YouTube subscribers. I am so close, so if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel and help me. I want to launch the Time Sector System course and Your Digital Life 3.0. Time Sector System course is already launched. Your Digital Life, we should get there around about the end of this month. And my goal is to get my body fat percentage less than 20%. We're 15th of June and I'm round about 23%. So getting there slowly but surely. So this is how I use my purpose and objectives. Now this is just me. I love to have this little area. It's like a dashboard, if you like. I certainly check it every Sunday when I do my weekly planning session. And I also check it when I do every Wednesday. I just like to go in there. And if I ever feel lost in the week and I feel like I'm losing my focus, I can just go in here and instantly regain my focus for the week. Now, there's just one caveat that I want to share with you here. Now, originally, I set this up with sections. So this week would be a section, this month would be a section. But then I realized when Todoist updated their task view, that if you actually do it by subtasks, so this is the main project, this is a main task this week. And again, what I've done is asterisk and then bolded it by using the double asterisk either side. I can now, if I check off this, let's say I've done it by Saturday, I've done it. What happens is it doesn't disappear. If you create it as a section, it disappears and you have to go looking for it. This way I can complete these tasks and they will show up in this view. So I can always go in and review how I've done this week. So although it's disappeared from this view here, but as long as I check that, I can see what I've done. And that's really cool. Also, for something like exercise minimum 6 times this week, that actually is often a recurring one for me. So I can just uncheck it and move it back in. So that's how I set up my purpose and objectives. Now, this is purely up to you if you want to use this. I find it incredibly useful because it keeps me focused on what's important. Most people, they always think, oh, how am I going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And finally, because I know I'm going to get asked this question, so before we finish, if you know these already, you can stop now. But for those of you who are going to ask the question, what are my filters? Let's go into this again. Today's objectives is really, really simple. If we just go into that, today's objectives, the filter query is today and P1 because I only ever have 2. So it's today and red flag, it's P1. That's it. My next one, today's focus, is again, it's a really simple one. And if I show you this, it's today and not exclamation mark means not P4. And that is how we register today's focus, which means it's today and not P4. So anything that doesn't have a flag will not be in there. And my focus 10 is basically I want to see 2 days. Now there's a reason why this 2 days and not P4. The reason is 2 days is because it's today and tomorrow. If I haven't completed all my tasks for today, I need to know about it. And so when I'm in this window, I like to be able to go in and check that. So that's why it's 2 days and not P4. So there you go. Those are my filter queries. I'm always being asked about that. Now you've got them. So if you do ask this question in the comments below, I am not going to answer the question. Watch the video. So there you go. Hopefully that's given you a full rundown how I use Todoist to have my workflow built in Todoist. It really works beautifully. I love this system. It's been working for me now for about 2 or 3 years. I haven't changed it, and I'm not planning on changing it because it works so well. My purpose and objectives really helps to keep me focused on what I've identified is important to me this week, because as you know, we all get loads of stuff thrown at us, and it's just one of those things that sometimes you just need to refocus, and I have it all there. So there you go. Well, thank you very much for watching this episode. Please help me to get to that 50,000 subscribers, and by subscribing to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. And it just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. Now, I'd like to introduce you to a brand new way of managing your tasks. Now, this system is called the time sector system. It's designed to do away with your projects, to do away with your goals, or at least do away with them from your time management system, your to-do list manager, and instead focuses on when you are going to do the task. Now, the reason for this is from a research that I did for the whole of last year, figuring out why most people were really struggling with their tasks, getting their tasks done on a day-to-day basis. What I discovered was they were managing their tasks by project. And the biggest problem with managing tasks by project is, first of all, deciding whether a task is a project or not. 2 or more tasks becomes a project, which means that you end up with a huge project list. And once you have a huge project list, just managing that list takes up an awesome amount of time. Time you could better be spent actually doing the work, not organizing. The time sector method is designed to do away with all that processing, so that the only decision you have to make is when are you going to do a task. And let's be honest, it doesn't matter how motivated, inspired, how urgent a task is. If you don't have time to do it, it is never going to get done. So I have launched a brand new course that gives you the step-by-step approach of setting up the time sector method. It's a revolutionary course. It's designed for the 21st century. For all the inputs that we get today, all the emails, the Slack messages, and everything else that comes our way, it's designed to deal with that, to manage that, so you stay focused on what you have identified are your most important tasks for the day. I'd love to see you in the course. Full details of the course are in the show notes below. I'd love you to check it out. Join me in the course, and let's take your productivity to a greater level than you've ever imagined. Well, thank you very much for watching this video. I just wish you all a very, very productive week.